Okay, I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Monee Village Board of Trustees, July 14th, 2021. 6:31. Please. Oh, sorry. Invitation by Reverend Hunt. Sorry.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Boggs. Good evening. Let's pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come today giving you all the honor and praise for which you alone are worthy. We thank you for your presence at this meeting and especially for your faithful love and never-ending mercy that has kept us, watched over us, and given us hope through this season of change. O Lord, direct our way to you as we come together to discuss, deliberate, and decide matters of concern to this beloved community. Help us that we may reason together with wisdom and discernment as we seek to accomplish the goals on tonight's agenda. Dear God, please endow these officers selected by their peers not only with a fresh anointing and a sense of accountability, responsibility, and integrity, but with an abundance of compassion, empathy, and grace to carry out their assignments. Empower them, O Lord, to understand that to serve the people well, they must sit with and hear the experiences of the people as well. Finally, gracious God, we pray for peace that passes all understanding, for justice that rolls down like a mighty stream, and for every cup of every family to overflow with your many blessings. And so we declare all these things in the mighty, the marvelous, and the magnificent name of Jesus Christ. And all the people of God said together, amen. Amen. Bless you. Thank you.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Denisha, please.
Trustee Gonzalez. Here. Trustee Horn.
Here.
Trustee Razik.
Present.
Trustee Rakes. Trustee Wilson.
Present.
Trustee Udris.
Present.
Open to the public. Agenda items only, please. Moving on to the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please, to accept?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second, Mayor.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Razik.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Clerk's report, please, Donisha.
Thank you, Mayor Boggs. I will first start with the oath. Romulus, if you can step forward. If you can raise your right hand, insert your name after I say aye. I
I, Romulus Beerus,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I would faithfully discharge the duties
as code enforcement officer
as code enforcement
for the
officer
Village of Monee
for the Village of Monee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And second on my report, I would like to ask for a motion to release the executive session minutes for February 27th, 2018, March 13th, 2019, and October 14th, 2020.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Razik,
Yes.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Udris,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
End of report.
Thank you. A few things under my report tonight. Earlier today, the Monee Police Department held a graduation badge pinning ceremony for 5 law enforcement explorers. Law Enforcement Exploring is a nationwide program which provides young men and women the opportunity to learn about a career in law enforcement. The Monee Police Department, as well as we, are very proud of the effort and dedication of the 5 graduating explorers and would like to recognize them in front of the mayor and the board. So please, Deputy Chief Lazzaroni.
Mayor, can we get a quick photo op with you?
Yes.
Deputy Chief, you want to say some words first?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor, Administrator Batista, and the Village Board for having us come out tonight. And I also want to thank Chief Scott Kerner for his support with this program. Never would have happened without his support. I just want to show how proud I am of this group. They've been here, gave dedication. They never missed a class, and I'm very proud of them. And I just wanted to brag and show them off to the board and everybody.
Would you name all your new officers?
Sure. Cadet Jared Koletsky, Cadet Mason Lazzaroni, Cadet Arthur Ben, Cadet Jared Sanchez, and Cadet Hayden Stroh.
If I could just say something real quick, guys. I was an explorer 35 years ago that I graduated. It's a great program, and I'm proud of you guys.
You gonna go first?
Smile, guys.
I know, right?
Next on my report, I just wanted to mention that I've started the process of looking into signage for the village in terms of the entranceways, different subdivisions that don't have signage currently, and directional signage. So that is something that we've started to look into, and hopefully we'll have some reporting for that in the near future. Lastly, on my report, I just wanted to share with everybody, I know not everybody's on Facebook, after the Woodridge tornado, we are part of the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network, and the Village of Monee sent Public Works employees David Cruzel and Justin Fleck, along with truck number 4 and the chipper, to Woodridge to help with the cleanup. So I wanted to share that video with everybody right now that Woodridge posted. I just wanted to say I'm very proud of all our departments and the fact that we're out and helping and, bringing that sense of community and support to everybody that we can. So, end of report. We're going to move on now to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item under my report is the Industrial Drive Area Sanitary and Water Project Partial Pay Request Number 2 and Pay Request Number 3. The village has recently received partial payout request number 2 and 3 from Aries, Inc. for the Industrial Drive Sanitary and Water Project, invoice number 24892 and 24956. Robinson Engineering and village staff have reviewed both invoices. See the outline attachments, please, and determined that both invoices are in substantial compliance with the plan and specifications. Robinson Engineering recommends that Aries, Inc. is entitled to pay request number 2 in the amount of $169,635.72. Additionally, Robinson Engineering recommends that Aries, Inc. is entitled to pay request number 3 in the amount of $74,316.17. The first action requested is a motion to authorize partial payment number 2 to Aries, Inc. in the amount of $169,635.72.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Razik?
Yes.
Now we need a
Okay.
motion for part 2. The motion for part 2 for the payout
Yep.
request number 3.
Thank you. Okay, so in addition to that, we're asking for a second motion to authorize partial payment number 3 to Aries, Inc. in the amount of $74,316.17.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn? Yes. Trustee Razik?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the next item under my report is the Main Street water main improvements. This is pay request number 4, the final payout for job number 20-R0534-04. The village has recently received final payout request number 4 from Aries, Inc. for the Main Street water main improvement project. Robinson Engineering and village staff have reviewed invoice number 24925 and have determined that it is in substantial compliance with the plans and specifications. Robinson Engineering recommends that Aries, Inc. is entitled to the final payout request number 4 in the amount of $61,213.38, and it's summarized below. To date, the total earn is $564,973.75, less the previous payment of $503,760.37. The amount due this pay request is $61,213.38. Action requested is a motion to authorize final payment number 4 to Aries, Inc. in the amount of $61,213.38.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez? Yes. Trustee Horn? Yes. Trustee Razik?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, in the village's continuing effort to upgrade and maintain its roadway surfaces, drainage, and water main infrastructure, the subject project was put out to bid, and the bid opening was on July 8th, 2021. The village received the bids on the reference project and find them to be as follows. Iroquois Paving Corporation, $2,253,657.60. As seen on the enclosed itemized bid tabulation in the attachment, the actual low bid of $2,253,657.60 is approximately 26%, or $813,667.90 lower than the estimated cost of $3,067,325.50. Robinson Engineering therefore recommends that the contract be awarded to the low bidder, Iroquois Paving Corporation, in the amount of $2,253,657.60. A map of this project is included in the attachment for your review. Action requested is a motion to award the subject project to Iroquois Paving Corporation in the amount of $2,253,657.60.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Just clarification, was this the only bidder that brought in?
That is correct, the only bidder.
Is that a little unusual? Don't we usually get 2 or 3 for something like this?
Jeff, if you want to, from Robinson Engineering?
Yes, typically we will get, 2. Last year, I think we had 2 for the roadway project.
Any reason why we did not get more bids this time, in your estimation? Okay,
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
yes.
Trustee Razak?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item under my report is request to hire 2 full-time Department of Public Works employees. The Department of Public Works Superintendent is requesting to hire 2 full-time employees that are currently employed by the village as part-time workers. Both of these employees have proven themselves to be dedicated, hardworking, and have demonstrated a willing eagerness to learn. In recent months, both employees have begun a more intensified course of training, which includes the use of handling of various equipment, road striping, and maintenance. Both individuals will begin training in the commercial vehicle operation and are expected to have their CDL licenses in time to supplement our snow removal operations this winter. Both positions, which have been vacant since 2016, are union positions and their salaries have been budgeted for this fiscal year. The action requested, a motion to approve the hiring of 2 full-time Department of Public Works employees.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Razak?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
yes.
Thank you, Board. The final item under my report is a presentation by Northern Builders, Matt Grusecki and Tom Kenrick. Gentlemen, welcome. The mic is yours.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and trustees. My name is Matthew Grusecki. I'm Senior Vice President of Northern Builders. I'm joined this evening by Tom Kenrick, our Chief Financial Officer. The reason we're here this evening is to reintroduce Northern Builders to you and give a brief overview of our 20 years of partnership with the Village of Monee. I'd like to summarize some of our successes that we've had together here in Monee during this time. I'd also like to present our next plan development for which we'll be seeking your support. And with that, I wanted to share our approach. Our approach is smart, thoughtful development that reflects Monee's market demand for mid-sized users and the village's interest in occupied buildings, new jobs, and measured economic growth. I did prepare a PowerPoint presentation. If that's available, I'd love to walk you through it.
They have the handouts.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I brought some notes, so I'll do my best to walk you through it. I'd like to start, I believe, which is your page 2. This is an overview of Northern's land positions in I-57. What you're going to see here is Monee's, our developments, Monee 1, Monee 2, and Monee 3. All three of these were developed on Cleveland Avenue. With that, all three of these developments were fully leased prior to building completion. Building number 1 was just over 200,000 square feet to Commander Packaging. That building has since been expanded and is now being occupied by Liberty Furniture. Building number 2 was originally built for Winpack and Allied Tube and Conduit. That tenancy has changed, but it still remains to be fully leased. Those first two buildings were built within Monee TIF District number 4. Monee 3 is a 244,000 square foot build-to-suit for which we had a lead tenant, Great Western Malting. They came in, they took 125,000 square feet. During that time, we made the balance of the building available for lease and structured a deal with Basco USA. What was interesting about this was they actually needed more space than what we had available, so Northern Builders purchased from the village of Monee some excess land. With that land, we expanded the building by 20,000 square feet, and we were able to get that deal done. So again, that was done under Monee TIF number 5, fully leased prior to construction, and I think a great success for all of us. Monee 3 was also spurred the extension of Cleveland Avenue, for which Northern Builders paid for. That was a TIF-eligible expense. I think it's worth sharing and just noteworthy of our relationship here. By the time we finished that road work, we were actually $300,000 under budget. But because it was a TIF-eligible expense, Northern handed Monee a check for $300,000 to fulfill our obligation. So with that, there was a lot of high-fiving one another. I think we were all very pleased with that development that was good for both Monee and Northern Builders, and that encouraged us to buy more land. So at that time, we purchased what's known as the Cacciatore site, which is situated just east of Ridgeland Avenue between Ridgeland and Sunset Boulevard. That site is 38 acres. It's zoned industrial and also falls within Monee TIF number 5. Since acquiring that property just over a year ago, we responded to, I believe, 5 different build-to-suit opportunities on that property. We are looking at another opportunity, which I'll get to very soon in my presentation. With that, we also saw an opportunity to acquire 2 additional land sites. These are in Industrial Drive. One is a property that was recently acquired by Wilkins, Don Wilkins of Wilkin Foods Service. The other is the Arquilla family. Both Wilkins and the Arquillas have since dedicated land to Monee for right-of-way to make way for utilities that will be coming down Industrial Drive. Again, both of these sites are also zoned industrial and fall within TIF District number 5. One of the things that was very unique about the Wilkins property is that Wilkins decided to retain 10 acres of that land for themselves. We've been working directly with Wilkins on and off for about 2.5 years, and the intention there is for Northern to build for Wilkins a 50,000 square foot cold storage building. So they told us their timeline is 2 to 3 years for that. So if you were to flip ahead to the next page, I wanted to speak a little bit about the activity that we are seeing. Obviously recognizing what we were able to accomplish on Cleveland Avenue, all of those users were between 125 and say 200,000 square feet. To date, as I already reported, we've responded to build-to-suits across the street, but here on Industrial Drive, we have a lease proposal out for 150,000 square feet, 250,000 square feet. We have an RFP in hand for 175,000 square feet with a company called Gerflor. I believe they're a French flooring company. We haven't even responded to that yet. But also, and all of those first three prospects are prospects for building number 1. So the thinking there is that of this proposed 381,000 square foot building, one of these users would likely take at least 250,000 square feet of that space. I should note that originally our intention here on the Arquilla property was to build 200,000 square foot buildings. But as we got further along in our engineering, there were significant wetlands, and there are also a series of pipelines that run through that property. So with all of that land loss, it just wasn't feasible to build 2 small buildings on that site, and that would explain the 381. Nonetheless, it's our intention to have a lead tenant going into that building, and we're very confident that one of these other prospects, that deal can get done during the course of construction. I'd also like, if you were to flip to the next page, there is a 2-building concept. Top of the page is labeled I-57 West 2-building concept. This is the Cacciatore Northern property. Again, this is zoned industrial and within TIF District number 5. To date, we've responded to several different build-to-suit opportunities here, and we are currently looking at a 2-building development on this site with a lead tenant in hand. It's my expectation that these buildings would likely be built one at a time, unless, of course, we have a user in hand already and it's economically feasible to build both simultaneously. But if you were to flip to the next page, that 2-building concept isn't the only thing that we're contemplating. Northern is currently one of 2 properties being considered for a Class A 220,000 square foot corporate headquarters. This is a development for Holland, Inc. Holland is currently in University Park. We are competing against Country Club Hills, who is offering a Class 6B real estate tax incentive. The client actually prefers a South Cook location, and we were asked by the client to pitch this development in Matson. Nonetheless, Northern was able to persuade the client to consider Monee with the understanding that they may be able to participate in TIF number 5, which would really give them a strong economic incentive to stay south I-57 in lieu of going north to Country Club Hills or Matson. So with that, our focus truly is on finding tenants for these buildings and seeking build-to-suit opportunities. So if we were to flip the page here, I just wanted to share a few talking points in regard to Monee TIF number 5. I have presented a letter to Attorney Grashevsky, which has much more detail attached to it. But just in brief, all of the TIF eligible expenses are paid by Northern Builders. As such, there is no financial liability or risk to Monee, and no revenue bonds are needed to provide financing for what we're doing. We are paying for all the TIF expenses. Number 2 is that it's important to note that this is actually a rebate of a portion of the incremental taxes generated by a new development. So this rebate incentive lasts only as long as the TIF eligible expenses incurred by Northern are reimbursed. Also, no interest would be assessed under redevelopment note. All payments received from the village via this rebate would be applied toward the principal. And lastly, the TIF incentive, the way we structure our tenant leases, what we've done historically and what we did at Monee 3 under TIF number 5, 100% of the TIF benefit goes directly to the tenant. It is not to Northern Builders' benefit to recoup those dollars expended by us. Our view is that those dollars spent are an investment in the building and part of the building cost basis, And it's our way of attracting new tenants for them to receive 100% of the incentive. So if you were to flip the page, I'd just like to summarize, a few points as to, who we are, what our approach is here, and what we'd like to accomplish with Monee. I should point out that many of our competitors are institutional investors, and many of them are interested in 600,000 to 1 million square foot buildings. And that's regardless of what the market may dictate, and it's really indifferent to what the municipality may want. Northern is different. We are a 3-generation family-owned business with a successful 20-year relationship with Monee. We do understand this market's dynamics, and we are focused on thoughtful development for mid-sized companies seeking anywhere from 125 to, say, 250,000 square feet. We have a track record, and to date, every one of our small speculative developments have been partially or fully leased prior to completion. So we are focused on build-to-suit opportunities for companies such as Holland, and with their knowledge of the TIF, we certainly have their attention, and the TIF is what helps us compete with other Cook County properties with a Class 6B incentive. Flipping the page, in addition to Holland, we've quoted 5 other build-to-suit opportunities. We have pending proposals out. We still have RFPs to respond to. We have 4 additional prospects for these buildings, and a future build-to-suit for Wilkins Food Service on Industrial Drive. So to support all of the above and our 3rd successful development in Monee, Northern purchased more industrial land within the TIF district, and we have 2 sites under contract. So Northern is here asking for your support of this, I'll say, development plan, and to continue what we've accomplished together thus far. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
You said one of these buildings, was it going to be an office facility?
The build-to-suit for Holland would have about 30,000 square feet of corporate office. And the balance of the building would be a training facility as well as equipment storage for what they do. Holland is a railroad service provider, so they do maintenance on track, they do welding, anything, even equipment sales, track mobiles, etc.
First of all, let me say thank you for the relationship we've had over the 20 years. It has been a fruitful partnership. I would agree with that. So a couple questions for you. Do you have, and you mentioned here that you have usually these warehouses are partially or fully leased prior to completion. Do you have tenants waiting for these buildings to go online at this point?
We have proposals out. We have tremendous interest, and we would expect to have leases signed.
And I think that's happened for most of your facilities here, as you said. So
Yes.
I do like development coming to our village. Here's a concern that I hear a lot of from my constituents is that, we are becoming known as a town for warehouses and fast food restaurants and truck stops. And none of those things are bad in and of themselves. But as trustees, myself in particular, we also have to think about development of our parks and our community center and what is best for our residents, because the people who come into these facilities, they're usually not residents of the town. They may use the gas station, they may go to a fast food restaurant, and I would imagine that if we built all these, probably build more fast food restaurants to service them. Okay. Pardon?
Possibly a grocery store.
Well, okay. Well, usually grocery stores look at houses, how many houses and people live in the town than who are traveling to it for work and so forth. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But what do we, so in summary, my question is, what do you bring to the table for us that helps our residents?
Sure. Several things. First of all, it's economic growth, certainly. It is new jobs coming to town. Companies such as Holland does have many senior level executive positions. They would be relocating from University Park to Monee. So that is certainly an opportunity. And of course, with those jobs come buying gas, buying groceries, going to restaurants. You know, as far as commercial development is concerned, I don't develop retail or commercial, very little. But I found that with demand, with jobs and with growth comes more commercial. The other benefit is that to Monee is that oftentimes municipalities are looking for opportunities to grow their tax base. Most residents want lower taxes, but if it's all rooftops, it puts a burden on the school district, and then you're building more schools, and with that, more taxes. So I agree that there is a healthy balance between all of these different development types, whether it be residential, commercial, or industrial. And I think the key here is just finding the right balance of those things, which is why I did not come here tonight presenting a 600,000, 700,000, 800,000 square foot building. You know, without being too critical of other developers, there's a building on I-57 that's nearly 900,000 square feet that's been sitting empty for over 3 years. And, you know, I don't understand, candidly, why that was built, because they didn't do their homework, quite candidly. All of the interest that I see is for 125,000, 150,000 square feet. That building, because I know what they're doing over there, that building is not divisible less than 350,000 square feet. So even if you demise the building, it doesn't make sense. So again, our approach is being thoughtful. I really don't jump into, you know, part of being a private development company and construction company, we're investing our own money. We're not some big institutional REIT or investor. And when you're writing a check, it gets much more personal, right? There's much more accountability. And with these smaller buildings, we think not only is that appropriate for the marketplace, but that's where we're going to be most successful.
So, Doug, just one thing off of you. Rooftops do make a difference for things like grocery stores, but I did go to a symposium where they were talking. One of the new things is they're also marking cell phone traffic in areas, and they're looking for traffic patterns. They're looking for traffic flows. So businesses like this that come in that produce more traffic into the area is something that retailers like that do look towards. But with that, my question is what you're talking about requires a lot of employees once places are up and running. To an intersection at I-57 and Manhattan Monee Road that's already overtaxed, is there any talk of any other, like adding any kind of on-ramp, off-ramp access at Bruns Road, or doing something to the intersection there as part of all of this? And this may not be for you, it may be for somebody else, to help alleviate some of that traffic. Amazon kills that area when they let out, and adding more people getting out would just make it even worse for residents there.
They often do, quite candidly. As far as the west side of I-57, what we've laid out actually has two different points of ingress, egress. It would be our intention to improve a portion of Sunset Boulevard so that that is one more direct access to Monee, Manhattan. Certainly Ridgeland is well-traveled, it's available, it's highly improved. That is a feasible route as well. But I do like the fact that we have two different points of access to the site. I think also noteworthy is that it's likely to be a single building development or no more than 2 small buildings built on that site. So, until we have a commitment from a Holland or another user for that property, it's difficult to say, what could be added to the area in terms of trucks and even car traffic. But nonetheless, we're not pitching a truck terminal. We're not pitching a sea of trailer parking or any type of development that would do third-party leasing for trailer parking. That's out of the question. That's not our business. Our business is building buildings and creating jobs, not creating traffic. On the east side of 57 on Industrial Drive, as I reported earlier, we already extended Cleveland Avenue part of the way. To my understanding that there's been discussion of a federal grant that will allow Cleveland to be further extended to the south and tie into Industrial Drive. Once that's complete, there would actually be 2 different routes to go, whether it's Cleveland or turning east on Industrial. Sure, thank you.
Couple more things. First of all, for the Holland building that you'd mentioned, the TIF district versus the Class 6B, can you explain the difference between what the 2 offerings are?
Sure. I don't know the nitty-gritty details of the Class 6B and what may be offered by Country Club Hills, but coincidentally, I was on a conference call today with 3 brokers and as well as Cabot, who's a big real estate company, discussing a different deal that's competing with Country Club Hills. And what I heard on that phone call was that with a 6B and a TIF, they would be somewhere between, say, $1 and $1.25 per square foot in real estate taxes. Based on our experience in Monee, I think without a TIF incentive, the full tax assessment would be close to that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and just given the site, and frankly, you guys even pitching a world-class organization like Holland that would be kind of a great client for us to have in Monee too, because especially along that corridor, that would lend itself to a more highly visible client, so I appreciate that a lot. And again, in looking at everything that we have and spend almost two and a half years working on a comprehensive plan, everything that you've just said fits into the comprehensive plan that we've already written.
Terrific. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Me
for your
too.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Tom. Mayor, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ruben. Moving on to the officials' reports. Public Works, Trustee Horn.
The only news item that I have, and I don't want to, there may be somebody else talking about this, is somebody, Trustee Wilson, I'm sorry, Trustee Gonzalez, are you going to talk about the banners?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I found out that the veterans banners have been printed. They've been delivered to the Public Works. They are awaiting hanging on the street poles. There are, from what I understand, there's 7 right now. And these are banners honoring our veterans, to get you up to speed on that. There is room for more, to honor more veterans. The application is on the Village of Monee website, or you can call Parks and Rec Department, and they can get you the application for that. But you will see, I would imagine, seeing those up in the next week or 2. End of report.
Thank you, Trustee Horn. Parks and Recreation, Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a summary of Parks and Recreation, what we're going through. Kids Day this past Saturday, it was a fantastic event. The weather held out for us, and there was a huge thing, including a parade, a bike rodeo, sponsored by Monee Police Department, our Touch-A-Truck, which is always a favorite, by Public Works, the Fire District, and Monee Police, and the Camp House County Landscape. Jumpies was sponsored by Dr. Bogues and the Monee Township Rainbow Farms, a petting zoo sponsored by Shoop's, free hot dogs sponsored by Shoop's, and an Oreo stacking contest sponsored by Comcast, and they received their goodie bags and coupons for Slurpees from 7-Eleven and from Shoop's as well. And we couldn't have hosted this event, of course, for our fantastic sponsors. So thank you so much to all of our sponsors and all the families that came out to that. I imagine there was around 300 there. It was pretty awesome to see. Tonight, after we leave here, there's the movies in the park from 8:30 to 10, and the movie tonight is Ants. So pull up to your truck and you're off, and let's watch Ants. July 15th is the last vaccine date at the old Second Place Church from Will County. So if you haven't gone and gotten your vaccine yet, you have until July 15th in Monee to get that done. And July 19th, the Monee Mavericks football practices start already. July 24th is the next farmers market from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Again, looking for vendors for that. If anybody has craft or food vendors or produce and or flower vendors, we'd love to have them. And to please call Diana at 534-8302 to sign up for those. The next is the Mac Love Monee shredding event at St. Boniface Church from 9 to 11 on July 31st. And I am told this is a shredding event. This is a household shredding event. It is not what do they say, the poisonous items, the hazardous materials. It is only household shredding. And the other thing on July 31st, and somebody from the chamber might mention this too, Monee Chamber Slammers game is on July 31st and we usually have a great time at that, and tickets are available here at Village Hall as well. And last and certainly not least, the Beautification Curb Appeal Contest came to an end. 38 homes entered. The Monee Women's Club had the honors and the tedious job of judging 38 homes. And the winners will be receiving a gift certificate to Brian's Place, Labus, and Monee Liquor Store. Our winners here tonight? Excellent. Okay. Diana, come on up. No, she's got the signs for you. So this is now. So you've got the Curb Appeal Winner Award, not along just so. Tied for second place is 5611 Sutton Place, Unit A, Gloria.
I actually did it. He thought it was nuts planting all these flowers.
And 5102 Wingfoot Drive, Miss Judge. Congratulations and thank you.
Do you want to stand up here just for a quick picture?
And our first place winner is 4783 Iris, and that is the Ducat family, but I believe they are on vacation this week. So I kind of lie, that is not the last thing. Prior to our village board meeting, we had our first Fall Fest meeting, and I'm going to go back to the Wayback Time Machine. In the beginning of the 2000s, we had a Monee Parks and Rec Commission. Hundreds of volunteers volunteered for our various events throughout the town. We do have a comprehensive plan for our Parks and Rec Commission again. And in meeting for the Fall Fest, we need help planning this event, getting volunteers, being part of its planning. And so there was 4 people that came to our Fall Fest meeting prior to this meeting tonight. So I encourage you, if you can spare an hour, if you can spare 2 hours, not only for Fall Fest, but our various events throughout the year, please be a part of our, not only the Fall Fest community planning, but as far as this commission. So if you wanted to be a part of that, the next meeting for Fall Fest will be before our next meeting, July 28th at 5:30 here at Village Hall. End of report.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez. Finance, we do not have Trustee Rakis here. Economic Development, Trustee Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Well, we had one business license issued, KAG Automotive Auto Express LLC, located at 25858 South Sunset Drive. And as we heard previously, we had the presentation presented by Northern Builders, and also we had the village has been contacted by an automotive salvage company that's seeking outdoor storage space. So those talks are currently in progress. End of report, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Wilson. Building Services, Trustee Rasek.
No report tonight, Mrs. Mayor.
Thank you. Public Safety, Trustee Udris.
Yes, thank you. First off, before I start my report, one of the things I should have brought up under Trustee Horns is Orchard Trail. Last week, I did get to walk the site with Superintendent Johnson. We went kind of down his list. The update is that currently 2 of the worst aprons have been completely replaced. We're still working with them to try to get the rest of them that had some bulging and heaving done to their driveways by that boring that they did underneath. Once the actual pavement, sidewalks that have been cracked, things like that have been fixed, there will be a landscape company coming out to re-landscape basically all the parkways that have been affected by this. So it does still go on. We're staying on top of it. NICOR is proving to be very slow and very arduous to deal with. So hopefully we'll have better news coming forward.
Should we give out his cell number? They're moving.
Yeah. So moving on to EMA. On June 30th, Monee EMA provided some multi-agency support for a severe vehicle accident that occurred on I-57. This did require closing of I-57 in both directions and rerouting some of the southbound lanes. So our EMA was out there assisting with that. And secondly, EMA did receive a payment in the amount of $10,000 for our command and forward operations trailer. This was in cooperation with ComEd and the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus. So good work for them for that. And next, if I could have Sergeant Cash come meet me up front here. So, the Monee Police Department is pleased to announce the recent graduation of Sergeant Brent Cash from the Northwestern University Staff and Command Program. This program provides upper-level college instruction for a vast curriculum of command officer topics of study. The Northwestern University Center for Public Safety is considered one of the top-tier programs for leadership schools in the nation. The Monee Police Department anticipates a variety of benefits from Sergeant Cash's attendance in this program. Many of the program graduates go on to achieve a variety of leadership positions within the law enforcement community here in Monee.
I didn't write that.
I added that. Sergeant Cash is to be commended for the commitment and effort in not only participating in this prestigious training, but for finishing the course with straight A's, straight A average. He should also be recognized for not only excelling in 22 weeks of intense studies, but also for showing up many early mornings and late evenings at the police department to make sure that his shift was getting all the support and resources that he needed. Monee Police Department is not only proud of his accomplishments, but grateful for his dedication to his profession, his fellow officers, and to this community.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I'm truly humbled. humbled by this, and this wouldn't be possible if we didn't have the great leadership that we have with our trustees and our mayor and Chief Kerner and everybody involved in our development at the Monee Police Department. Thank you. I'm starting to sweat, you guys. Thank you. I appreciate this a lot.
No, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
End of report.
Thank you, Trustee Udris. Moving on to the attorney's report. Larry?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, could I help on the Class 6 difference?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. What a Class 6 is, it's a tax abatement that's available in Cook County. What happens, it's good for 10 years. The tax rate goes from 36% to 16%. And they would qualify in Cook County because this is an applicant, if it's completely vacant land like it is, and they would, not they, but the competitors would qualify. Also, the Class 6 is renewable for another 10 years. So technically, it's a tax break that the village would be giving, any village for that matter, can go up to 20 years. In the situation at hand, they're not asking for that. What they're asking for is a TIF redevelopment agreement, and I believe there's only 8 to 9 years left. So the tax break would be 8 years versus a potential 20 years. And it's fairly routine for developers in Cook County to receive some type of tax incentive. But in this situation, rather than a 20-year tax incentive, it'd be more like 8.
So that would give us a little leg up because we're only 1 or 2 years into that tip.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because the Class 6 technically can be renewed for up to 30 years. Mayor. Under my agenda, we have the Ordinance 1979, repealing Title 5, Chapter 1, Section 7. We did this at the last meeting with respect to the police department structure. We're asking tonight to reaffirm that ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Razik?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is the ordinance repealing ordinance number 1515 with respect to dogs in the park. I was asked or directed to draft this ordinance for the board's consideration.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Razik?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
1981.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is to reaffirm the hiring of one additional police officer. I believe this was either discussed or taken action at the last meeting. So a motion to reaffirm.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Razik? Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item for the board's consideration is the surety bond release. I believe this was under the project for the Amazon project. Obviously, the work has been completed. The surety bond, since they've been in there for at least a couple of years, this bond should be released. It's no longer necessary for us to keep the surety bond.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So Larry, can you just explain it really quickly that this, this is bond money that has been set aside from Amazon by Amazon going back to Amazon. This isn't reflected in our,
Yes, ma'am. Basically, it's like you indicated, trustee Gonzalez, it's a bond that they purchase in order to secure performance. If they didn't perform like they're supposed to, then the village has a right to call the surety due. But the work has been done, so in my opinion, it should be released.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Razik?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
yes.
Thank you, Mayor. And the last item is a discussion regarding contract bids and the waiver. As the board is aware, that we submitted or went out for proposals for the a water project. The bids came in, I believe, Friday. The bids were due, I believe, at 10 o'clock. And there was one applicant who was, I believe, 4 or 5 minutes late. Now, the village board has the right, any village board has the right to accept or reject bids or have what they call a technical waiver. No bids were open in this situation. The village does have the right to indicate that the one company who was late to reject that proposal. If it's rejected, then the board has the right to then direct Jeff, our engineer, obviously, to then open the bids. I believe it's set for Friday. Again, the bidder was 5 minutes late, so technically, did that individual or company comply with the bid specs? No. But it's, the position of the engineer is to recommend a low bidder. It's not for, in my opinion, it's not for the engineer to accept or reject bids. That's not their function. As we heard tonight, there's recommendations for payouts. That's so in Jeff's situation, his job is to accept the bids, and then the board of trustees and the mayor obviously makes a call whether the bid should be accepted or rejected, as far as I'm concerned. But in this situation, by the strict letter of the bid notice, there was a contractor who was late with the bids. The others were submitted in a timely fashion. So tonight, if the board deems it appropriate, you could make a motion to reject the bid who was late. And then the second motion would be to proceed with authorizing Jeff to open the bids on Friday. I think the contractors are aware that it's for Friday. If they want to appear, they're more than welcome to appear.
So for it'll go out for rebid again?
No, ma'am.
So,
I believe we received 5 bids, which is obviously pretty significant considering we had one on the paving. So you have 5 bids. If the one's rejected, then the remaining 4 bids will be reviewed by our engineer. Then the engineer will make a recommendation, maybe at the next board meeting thereafter, who he or she feels is the lowest responsible bidder. But it'd be 4 bids open, and the 5th one would be, the late one or delinquent would be rejected. And that's, in this situation, none of the contracts were opened. So no one knows what the price is, which to me is extremely fair. But one delinquent one, again, there's no need to even open because you're rejecting it, or if the board deems appropriate.
And how long was the process? How long was the bid out?
I believe at least, how many days? 15 days?
At least 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay.
I said 15, we're pretty close. Yeah, it's got to be 15 days. It's usually not less than 15, no more than 30. And
So,
Jeff puts it in the local newspaper, and it usually goes in the trades, the Dodge report. So all the contractors are aware of the qualifications and requirements.
And just give me a little bit of picture of the logistics on how this is executed. So at 10 o'clock, there's the bidders lining up outside, and the doors opened, or they come in, they wait inside, we collect the bids, and
That, Trustee Horn, as long as someone's available to accept the bids, it's usually in the notice where they're supposed to be delivered at one time. It depends on the project. You know, you might have one bid, you might have 10. It depends on the size of the project, and it probably depends on, the season. If it's a construction season, that's one thing. If it's not, and prices are, through the ceiling, you'll get more bids.
And just to be clear, the time and place were clearly posted on this bid process.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So action tonight is you want us to decide whether they should open 4 bids or 5?
Yes, ma'am. Basically, action tonight would be to reject the bid that was late, and then the second motion, if the mayor and board thought it was appropriate, is to direct Jeff to proceed with the opening on Friday, which is what the contractors who appeared were told.
Okay.
Well, then I'll go ahead and make a motion to reject that bid.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Razak?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
That was the first motion, so the second motion would be to allow Jeff to open the bids.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Razak?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Larry. Any old business? New business? Open, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'll do open to the public, go ahead.
Are you sure? Yep, okay. Open to the public, non-agenda items. Please come to the podium, state your name. Anybody?
Okay, I thought they were coming up here. So I'll just make a short announcement for our veterans that we hold so highly regarded in town too. I just wanted to make an announcement on next Thursday, July 29th, from 4 to 6 p.m. There's a fish fry and a Veterans Aid and Attendance benefit presentation. So if you are a vet or are married to a vet, or you might qualify for the Aid and Attendance benefit, I ask you to come to Village Woods in Crete on Thursday, July 29th, and I have invites available to see if you do qualify for those Aid and Attendance benefits. That is all.
We open to the public now?
Yes, sir.
Jim Pop. I'll say I'm former mayor for one reason. People might hear me better, if you know what I mean. Position means something, even though mine is over. The first thing I'd like to mention to you is that, and this is important, the new COVID thing that came out is attacking young people. And I mean big time. They're on respirators, teenagers. My wife and I had our shots in February. The Pfizer, we had both of them. We had a family outing in May, 28 and 29 and 30th, and if there's a 30 in May, I think there is. But anyway, wife and I had COVID. I don't know where we caught it. My son wound up in the hospital for 8 days with double pneumonia and what have you. It's very important, and I'm speaking not just to this body. Obviously, I hope a lot of people are listening. It's serious. It's confusing, but don't tell me you can't get it after a shot, okay? Be careful. When I'm in a crowd, I do wear a mask yet after that. I would not have survived, I believe, if I didn't have the shot. I have to mention, I have a pretty serious heart condition. I got a little monitor in me and everything, so I'd have been in bad shape. Anyway, okay, that being said, the other thing I want to say is I want to commend you all the trustees, the mayor, for you guys paying that water, the new water tower. That is a tremendous bill, even though it's low interest, but boy, when you figure it over 20 years, I don't want to know the number. And you just paid it off. I'll summarize by saying, and I've heard some good things about you, Treese, Mayor Boggs. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello. Josh Reading, M&J Underground. I was the delinquent bidder for the water main project, so I just wanted to ask why you guys felt it was necessary to throw it out when they were not open.
If you would, just to maintain the integrity of the process, potentially there could be, let's say you happen to be the lowest bidder. There could be foul play. Somebody can throw a flag and say foul, you know, the innuendo, I know, just the innuendo. In order to keep the village safe and harmless with that way we maintain the integrity of the process, that way that can't even be mentioned because it's not going to happen. We want you to bid, we want you to.
No, it was our mistake. It was, I'll take the blame. I was in part of it, but my young estimator, he's new. He read 10:15 as a bid opening, which that's when the bid opening was, but the due date was 10 a.m. So he showed up a few minutes late. It was our mistake, but I just thought, as trustees of the village, looking out for the constituents of the village, you would want to accept all 5 bids because none of them were open, so that way you had the best chance to get the low bid. You know, if I'm $50,000 lower than the next bid out of the 4, you just technically cost the village of Monee $50,000 more money on a technicality of 4 minutes.
Sir, if I may, and I respect your position, and obviously the board does. The problem with and I recommended they stay sealed, partly because if it was rejected, all the bids were rejected, then your bid and everyone else is put on notice what the price was. And I think out of fairness to you and fairness to every contractor, we kept them sealed. And, you know, we didn't want to come out and say who is, you know, delinquent. We did that out of respect to you and your company. But, you know, it was my suggestion to keep them sealed out of fairness. And if it ever goes out for bid again, you know, then everyone knows what the prices are. And
Yeah,
that's,
I mean, I've been to
I understand.
hundreds of bid openings, and
I understand.
I've seen other contracts be delinquent, and I've seen other contracts be accepted when they're delinquent.
Sir,
I mean, so I've been through this process.
I completely understand, you know, and so does the mayor and the
And I
board.
appreciate
know.
you guys not opening them up right away, and that's why.
That's exactly why we did out of respect to you and every contractor.
Right. Okay. I just, you know, when I'm looking at it, if you're looking out to get the best price for the project, but I understand why the process was, and I understand that it was clear.
And to be honest, sir, if the bids come in, you know, too high, the board and on Jeff's recommendation can go out for bid again.
Right.
So, yeah, it's our obligation to award it to the lowest responsible bidder, sir.
Yep, 10-4. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, I would like a motion, please, to adjourn to executive session.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'll second.
Oh, yeah, executive session, it is 5 ILCS 120-2, C1, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees. Item 2, 5 ILCS 120-2.6D, review of executive session minutes. Number 3, 765 ILCS 10-0.01, sales and real estate contracts. Can I have a second to that motion, please?
Seconded.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Razak?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?